you're suggesting to put a lot more thoughts into each individual working in the company and figure out where's the place for this individual? How do they fit?
Totally. Because if we look at the concepts around belonging is really like an infrastructure, if you will. And when that infrastructure is regulated so that, your A, B, and C team players are all working together, that's what creates your engagement. That's what creates your speed, your quality, your innovation, your attention. It's not just the A players that are doing it. It's the whole. And when organizations look at laying people off, they often see it through the lens of just looking at what that top performer is. And that also depends on your metrics and how you're measuring. If you're measuring some of these elements and giving, middle managers ratings on belonging, who are the toxic managers? Who are the highly innovative ones that are actually driving motivation? Those are some of the things that companies and executives often overlook. And when they get rid of what I find fascinating, and we've seen a lot of this in the US of recent, where they've gotten rid of key players. So return to work, and the data shows this. So this isn't like a DEI thing, but return to work is also showing that a lot of women are not returning for a variety of different reasons. When it comes to layoffs, though, it's a decision to not go back. When it comes to layoffs, though, and you have a woman leader who actually innovates and drives motivation and engagement, and people trust her and they believe in her, you get rid of that leader, you should see what happens on the performance side.
That's right.
And that's not just for women. And I think that's the piece where DEI was problematic, because there's lots of men out there, and lots of men in my early stages of research, who really said to me, Andrea, I don't feel like I belong at this company. These are the reasons why I don't belong.
Yeah.
And so, when we look at that, and when we look at who are the people that are showing up, that actually is, I would say it rates it at a higher propensity to regulate a whole team rather than just an individual. And what we're seeing is that there really is this division right now of individuation versus collaborative or collective whole. And so when we only have, people who are individual based, if you think of how mold spreads, you have one bad apple.
That's right.
One bad apple creates many bad apples, and a moldy plate of apples very quickly.
Absolutely.
So what are you left with? And I think that's the question that people have to start asking.
Yeah. You're right. Now, I just have a question regarding when it comes to the belonging culture in an organization. Where do you see this fitting between a CEO and a CHRO, for instance? Like the Chief Human Resources Officer versus the CEO. Some CEOs say, hey, don't bother me with this. That's an HR thing. They should be doing it. But some people would say, well, the CEO should take the lead on it, or maybe a combination of two. I'm not sure.
Ideally, it works the best when it's a combination of both. What I found fascinating, there was a company I worked for recently that our contract was up. And so it was a perfect way for me to walk into my next one. But what I found fascinating is that you also have the reverse, where it's the CEO who's saying, we need this, let's move forward. And you have a VP or a CHRO who's like, it's not that important. I'd rather do my initiatives.